Hi, everybody. Recruiting Animal here on February 4th, 2026. Okay, let's go through you and me, some of the stuff that we talked about with Dean. Dean showed us last week how he does a people search prompt, and he had pages and pages of websites for people search, okay, that he feeds in.
That's his on his site. You can pay for that. That's his sourcing link site.
Okay, so for that, have you people? So I posted his little discussion about that in my group. Okay,
I saw
and he
that,
started it off. There's another issue there. So he had reams and reams of websites to check about people. He also started it off with something I think very important, is that you have to pick a persona, an identity for the AI. So he said, if you tell it it's a clown, it's going to be looking for clownish things. If you tell it it's a recruiter, it's going to be looking for things relevant to recruiters. But you saw when he was doing the people search prompt, he started off with 2 lines of, you're a recruiter and you're thinking like an FBI agent and doing all, remember that? And an OSINT specialist, that's a human research specialist. So, and I've read since then that, you know, someone like you, for instance, are better off not just saying act as a recruiter, you're better off saying act like a senior recruiter with 10 years experience in structural engineering placements. Okay, so
Correct.
This is going to make, this is what he says, going to make a big difference. Are you using stuff like that?
Yeah. So I just pulled up some of my GPTs, whatever you want to call them, right? So role, you're an elite LinkedIn profile strategist with expertise in personal branding, talent acquisition, and digital professional presence. Your specialization is transforming underperforming LinkedIn profiles into a powerful career advancement tool. That's how my LinkedIn optimizer audit starts out.
Okay. So it's really, so should everybody, whenever they're doing a prompt, they have to start it off with what I call a persona. He usually calls it a role. So should it be a long identity, or is act as a recruiter generally good enough? Any opinion on that?
Again, it's no, the more specific you get, right? You are act as a highly trained 20-year executive search consultant, senior recruiter who has worked with the likes of Heidrick and Struggles, Korn Ferry, and Russell Reynolds as a professional sourcer, sourcing roles in the structural engineering, civil engineering arena across LinkedIn, Facebook, and other social media platforms. Like that's better.
Really? Okay. And so you yourself usually use those extended persona definitions.
I'm like trying to think like you are a social media expert with 25 years experience in making social media posts going viral. You use all the SEO and best practices of social media to drive engagement across multiple platforms, TikTok, LinkedIn, blah, blah. Make me
is it going to understand, SEO? Okay. Is it going to understand what
all of that? Yeah, all of that. And you can, what I would tell you to do very simply, right, is do 2 side-by-side searches, right? Do one that says, write me an email like a recruiter, right? And then write me an email like you're a 25-year seasoned recruiter, and see what the difference is. Even something as simple as saying, you can say stuff like, write this email like Dr. Cox from Scrubs, or write this email like Ernest Hemingway. It'll do that. The large, like, you gotta remember, it has access to all of the information, right, on the internet. You were the one that posted that one computer that was like $400 or whatever, and it did like 5 billion computations in a tenth of a second or something. That's what runs these large language models, right? You're thinking like humans when you put all this stuff in, but you have to remember these models are running so fast and can do all of this stuff so quickly. So yes, it grabs all that information. I just told it. You are a large language model based on OpenAI architecture with 25 years experience as a blah, 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 blah. It grabs all that before it does anything in a millisecond.
Okay, so we really have to, what you're telling me there is you can't think of it as a fellow human being. It's something much
but it thinks
greater,
faster
Superman.
than you can imagine.
if you're using a paid version of ChatGPT, for example, there's settings that you can fill out in advance, so it knows what you do for work, and it will learn from the types of prompts you do over time, and it knows exactly how you talk, what you do. It basically takes on your persona. But if you are using
any persona you want, right?
correct,
Like,
yeah.
like we were talking about how you could say in an agent, you are a
well,
you are a
can
Harvard-trained structural engineer with 25 years experience in finite element design.
Yeah, but you can say something like, you can say what Tommy said, but you can say, but you communicate in the tone of Robin Williams, right? So it will communicate the structural engineering piece, but in the tone of Robin Williams, right? So when you're writing things and you want to add a little flair to your outreach message or business development, if you mention like, George Carlin or Albert Einstein or whoever, you can basically have it take on that persona and include that in its writing.
Here's it explained like I'm 5.
Okay, so what you're saying is that you're talking to a super brain that can do anything, but you have to give it instructions like a 5-year-old. Okay, but it can do anything as long as you.
Be specific.
Yeah. Okay.
Very thinking about it, the worst ADHD, the worst OCD, PhD person, right? You have to be so specific.
I was going to say, one of the things that you want to learn with all of this is you got to play with it. You got to play with it. You got to make your mistakes. You got to talk to other people about it. But the more things you put into it, whether it be your searches, whether it be your YouTube videos, your books, your whatever you put into it, you're basically increasing how that person thinks like you. Like my ChatGPT knows the name of my company, knows that I'm a recruiter, knows what I'm looking for. So when I ask it questions like, what should be my priorities, it'll automatically go into that and lay it out. And and not only that, you get an answer and you can also say, further explain, tell me more, give me other questions. And what you're doing is you're really talking to an administrative assistant that won't get pissed off because you don't have you didn't give them all the information at once. You're sending them back to the drawing board, come back with another. And that's really how it works. And then, but I think the best thing that any of these guys here have done with ChatGPT is you got to ask the question, why? Or I wonder if it could do this. And then you throw it in there. And then you go, dang, it did it. I wonder if it could tell me how to make pizza, how to redo my landscaping, how to whatever you want, and it'll do it. But the more you do it consistent with what you're trying to do in a job, the more it'll learn what you want, how you want it, how you lay it out, and you find that the answers you get are really, really good. I just stick with ChatGPT because I forget everything else. And so what I try to do is just kind of teach it and then work off of there. And every once in a while, I'll venture off into another one. But pick one or two if you're just starting out. Don't try to learn all of them at the same time. Just learn one, play with it, and then gradually, like you're going in first grade, then you go to second grade, learn more, third grade, and you grow. But don't try to listen to somebody that's really, really good at it, like Dean DaCosta, and try to figure out, okay, I want to learn this in one day. It doesn't happen in one day.
Okay, I got a specific thing here. This guy says you can search LinkedIn with AI browsers like Comet or Atlas. Atlas is only available right now for people on Mac, I'm pretty sure. Okay, so I haven't been able to download it. But this guy gave an example. He used Atlas and he said to it, I want to interview a former Apple employee that worked there for 10 plus years, but is no longer there, and give me 2 possible names and then start a message to the first person. And it did that. Okay.
He had to be logged in onto his own LinkedIn. You cannot access any more than just the basic LinkedIn URL if you're not logged on. Like that's the one thing I like. It can work. I'm afraid of getting banned. I did a deep search, right? 2 different ways. And basically what we got back was, here's what we can find, but there's only so much information we can get from LinkedIn. right? So you have to be logged in. So here's the thing. Yes, I can go to Comet right now, log into my LinkedIn and do exactly what he did. But Comet's going to be running my LinkedIn using my LinkedIn account, which is going to be a problem. I can't afford to have my account banned.
Animal, I would be curious if the guy did it. Was he using a VPN? Was he using kind of
it doesn't matter. No, none of that matters. It doesn't. Right. All that matters is whether or not you're on a LinkedIn. You have to. I don't care if it's yours or someone else's. You have to have access to a LinkedIn account to look at it. Go right now, and everybody here, just go open up a private browsing window, put in Tom Alascio and LinkedIn, and click on my profile. And the first thing that pops up is you have to have an account to view Tom Alascio. That's what I'm talking about. So there's no way to get through past that wall unless you're logged in. So after you had posted that thing, I have TypingMind. Everybody knows that. And I did the same type of deep research he was talking about using TypingMind and not being logged into LinkedIn, right? So what we did yesterday, and I showed it took a while. It cost me some money in terms of what I had to do it. But basically what we asked it is we said, can you please search for all the mechanical engineers in Vero Beach, Florida? Now, I did it in Vero Beach because it's a very small area. And I know it would have a ton, so it would be faster. HVAC and plumbing commercial systems, specifically Carrier, get me their name, their title, the company they work for, any contact information, their LinkedIn URL, and any social media profile link, and put it in an Excel spreadsheet for me, right? So I have a deep research thing that I use that has a called Firecrawl that went through, look what it did. It went through all of these, searching LinkedIn, searching HVAC. These are all the places it went over and over doing the deep research, okay? All of this. And more and then once it got all the people, then it started looking for contact. And then more specific individuals. Then finally, when it was all said and done, this is what it found. Now remember, it cannot access LinkedIn because I wasn't logged in. So it got me the CEO of Midstate Mechanical and his LinkedIn URL, right? It got me this guy, and let me expand this, right? It got me this, right? Now, I looked at this and I thought, man, if it did this, I want to try this in my industry and start thinking about it, right? It got me all these important notes, right? Interesting findings, sources that it found all the stuff from. This search, just this search, cost me $3.40 because it did so much deep research. So I then replicated this search using Perplexity. Okay, let me go back up to the top. This is what Perplexity gave me. That's it, using the same exact prompt.
I got a question. Okay, hold on. I thought TypingMind, you give them $99 and you don't have to pay for the use of every.
You have to pay for the API usage, right? So I have API keys for all the models right here, and some models are more expensive. It shows you how much the pricing of tokens is, right? 7 cents for 1 million tokens. 3 cents for 1 million tokens.
And deep research is one of the AI tools that you've got.
No, deep research. My deep research is different. It's a plugin that uses 2 different API keys from Firecrawl and Ask for AI or something.
Okay, so Dean said Perplexity is the best research tool, but in fact, you're using something called deep research, and that's good. Perplexity didn't do anything at all. Is that right?
Yeah. In this particular case, no. This deep research tool that I use is I sent this to Dean, asking his opinion on it. I also sent it to David M. Marr, and David.
How do you access it? What's the URL? Where do you get it?
Well, okay, so the URLs are it's Firecrawl.
Because I got to tell you, that's an amazing difference in result. What's incredible.
This is Firecrawl, okay, and it queries across any place, right? I mean, it does all kinds of stuff. You can scrape any URL into a scrape, right? So this is amazing. You have to have an API for this, and then you have to have an API for SERP API. So you have to run these two APIs for these 2 things to get this plugin to work on TypingMind. And SERP AI is right here. And again, here's the pricing, right? So I get 250 searches per month, 50 through pre-auth the hour, but I don't have US Legal Shield, Zero Trace Mode, and priority support, right? So if you pay, then you have to pay 150 to get the shield. For Firecrawl, they didn't have their pricing on here. I don't know if they
Okay, I got a question.
yeah, go ahead.
I forgot it.
Yeah, here's
Oh yeah,
Firecrawl.
I know what it was. So this sales guy who says I can do great company research on AI. It's almost criminal how easy it is. What do you use for your company research before you call, let's say, a company you've never worked with before?
I use this, or I use Gemini's deep research. That's what I use, right? And I'm not being completely fair because I didn't go over to Perplexity. I use my Perplexity plugin. So just to be fair, I'll go to Perplexity and turn on deep research and ask it to do this. Like, here's deep research, right? And I'm going to drop this in here. The same as the prompt we just did. I'll have that run, and then enable start thread. Why can't you start thread? There we go. And then I can also have Gemini run the same exact thing, right? And see what their deep research does. Because the problem that I ran into with Perplexity's deep research is that it's quick. It shouldn't be quick. If you're doing deep research, right, it should take 5, 10, 15 minutes to do that. That's what the one I just showed you did. This is Gemini's, right? And you can, oh no, that's you guys. Sorry. Here's Gemini. And if we do the same deep research with Gemini, right? So tools, deep research, and then we're going to just say this. We're not putting any sources in, right? We're just and this is what I think my plugin is different, right? Is that we're just asking it to go and search, whereas in the one that I used has those scrapers and those crawlers, right? So this one's running now. Let's go back to Perplexity and see what's going on there.
So
it's thinking, right? Okay, so it's generating Excel format. It's generating. So it's looking for all this stuff right now. So actually it's doing some deep research. This one is saying, let's see, start research. And this one will take. So we can go and get off of this. And when this call comes up, I can show it to you guys when it's done.
Next topic. This guy, he said, I'm a very experienced salesman, over 20 years experience. AI has made prospecting almost too easy. I use Copilot to research an entire organization in seconds. That's the website, the annual report, the press releases, and the leadership priorities. Copilot analyzes the tone, the writing style, the leadership preferences straight from the executive's LinkedIn activity. It surfaces their challenges, opportunities, data trends, whatever that means, and the language they use to talk about them. Then I generate a 2-sentence hook so compelling it practically forces an open, okay, in his email. And he said his emails make the probability of landing an executive meeting in any organization virtually 100%. Does anyone believe that?
So, Tom, let me ask you one question. The statement that Animal said about this one character that talked about how it's almost
Criminal. Yeah.
Terminal, whatever. After hearing that, what's your initial thought about that person?
That either his research is very minimal or he has a prompt that he's not sharing that's amazing, right? Because I'll show you what I did. It's in Gemini for a search that I got, right? And I will tell you right now, because I was able to do what I did with this particular this company, I searched because of how well the research I was prepared. So what he's saying is I'm on board with, right? 100%, right? So if we look at my search history, for one of my a company called Python Fasteners, I wanted to get some really good deep information. And the information that I'm pretty sure it was this one that did it was absolutely amazing. It was amazing. Let's see if I can search for it.
Will the AI find you information about a company that they really didn't expect the public could access?
Depends on how good you are.
I don't know that.
No.
I that's a good question, Animal, and I don't know the answer to that question. Right. So where are we with this one? This is still doing.
Let me ask you this though. Could Dean find it?
I'm assuming, right? Like Dean is a fucking rock star, right? So I'm assuming that
let me ask you something about what Dean. Ernie. When I was saying, so he's got those a huge list of people finders, okay, and so when I posted that in my Facebook group, people were complaining, why would you want to do that kind of people search? And
do you know, like which people search are you talking about? You talking about the prompt that he did, or the one where he showed all those places to put the name in? Those are two different
all
things.
The places. He said, I'm an FBI agent, an OSINT
That's his
specialist.
prompt.
Yeah. So that
was an insane prompt.
Yeah, but I mean, but then he showed us everything that showed up: his wife's birthday, where his kids live.
Oh yeah. That was an insane prompt. That's not the same as this.
Yeah, but why would someone want that? People were complaining. They said, "Well, this is sick. Why would he want that information about a candidate or somebody?"
Why
not?
wouldn't you?
Well, why wouldn't you?
It's kind of like when you see a post that someone says, if you want to do your yard and fix it up, here's a grass to plant. You can almost be sure that someone's going to say, why in the hell do you want to plant that grass? And so everybody will give you reasons why not to do it. Same thing with this.
The same thing. Why I talk about my the tattoo parlor where I left a message for the guy at the tattoo parlor. I have left messages with people's wives, with their kids, with their grandparents. Right. So when I go to True People and do this, right, I'm going to get a bunch of different numbers. Right. So here's me right here, Annapolis, Maryland. Right. This is me. Right. And it's got a bunch of phone numbers, and then it's going to have people associate me. And maybe this is not a very good one, but if you go to Typemine, and I said, been verified, it gives you like 20 numbers on me. My old work numbers, my wife's phone number, my kids' phone numbers, because they're under my cell phone bill. So you start calling those numbers, you're going to find me. And there's nothing, I mean, that's why you would do that, right? That's why you would use these and look through these till you get a hold of Tom Alascio, right? Like, don't you find me, right? God damn it. You know, like here I am right here, Aberdeen. That's my cousin. That's me. Right. So, look, there's a bunch of numbers, right? And Gmail addresses and whatever. So you go through these till you find the number that works. That's why you do that. It's not to stalk people. It's not to be some, stalker. It's because I need to get a hold of Tom Alascio, and I want to get a hold of all the numbers I can find for him.
Yeah.
And you're
going to do everything possible to do that.
Yeah. Look, see right here, all these numbers. Eventually, you're going to keep calling them until you get a hold of me. That's my wife's. That's my mother-in-law's. That's my cell phone, right?
And Animal, you know how many times I've called a wife's number and said, "Oh my God, I'm trying to reach Tommy," but I say, "Oh, hold on a second, I'll give you his number, or let me call him and he'll call you back." I mean, the people that are making those comments, they're like, "Do you want to talk to a person and get a candidate or what?"
Yeah, exactly. Are you trying to get a fee? So this is what it gave me on Perplexity, right? I would tell you right now that obviously this is free compared to what I had to do on Typemine, but it gave me a name, title, company, location, phone, email, LinkedIn URL. On
what's the prompt? Can I see the prompt you used for that, Tommy?
Yeah, well, I did. It wasn't so much the prompt. It was I did very deep research. I used the deep research functions of Perplexity. This is Perplexity. So all I said was, can you please find me, so please search for all mechanical engineers in Vero Beach, Florida, who have experience in HVAC and plumbing commercial systems, specifically Carrier. Get me their name, title, company, contact info, their LinkedIn URL, any social media, and put in Excel format, right? So this is what we got from Perplexity. This is what I got from my deep research on Typemine, which I think is probably similar to what Perplexity gave me if I was to compare it. Now that I look at it, probably the similar spreadsheet. And Gemini is still running. Gemini is, where's Gemini here? Yep, they're still running. So it'll be interesting to see of the three, which one does the best. Look at all the different places. Now, the thing with Perplexity is you will get throttled. You can only do so many of these. And now that I've done this, I'm probably going to try the other stuff out. Here we go. So this is what Gemini gives you. They give you a whole comprehensive breakdown of the mechanical engineering HVAC professionals that they found, which looks to be pretty similar to the other one, plus any contact info they can find, which I think they did a better job than mine and Perplexity, right? Then why did they do geotechnical? I have no idea. And they have all this stuff. This is what it did for me when I did the Python thing. This is kind of what I got from Python. So when I met with Python and they asked me, hey, what do you know about our company? I blew them away. I knew all about what they did in New Zealand. I knew all about the Christchurch earthquake. I knew about all the masonry issues that were happening in California. I knew how their fastener performed way better than Hilti and Simpson Strong Tie, right? I blew them away. At the end of the thing, I said, when I was done, he goes, oh my God, okay, great. Let's go. What next? Right. I'm like, well, send me a retainer. I got the search and I'm about to fill it. I got the guy who's going for his final interview next Friday.
So I'm not clear about something. No, here, and I want to do your ad. Well, let me do the ad first, okay? Tommy is a smart guy, and he's got a lot of experience, and he keeps saying he almost didn't make it out of high school, okay? That's one thing. But he's also got 2 shows, and I want to know, is this the kind of stuff that you're going into in depth in your 2 shows? Okay,
Mm-hmm.
So one of the shows, I'd say his flagship show, is on Fridays at 12:30?
12:30, the Recruiter Roundtable.
recruiterroundtable.com, and it's a group of people come and chat. We're all recruiters. They chat about stuff. Ernie likes to point out after 1 hour, they turn off the cameras, and if there's any kind of really secret stuff that they only want to discuss with the fellowship, that's when that comes up. Okay. Yeah. And then he's also got Ask a Headhunter or Ask the Headhunter. Which one is it?
Ask a Headhunter live every Tuesday at 5 p.m. And
5
we do a
p.m.
demo
Okay.
of something. Like yesterday, we did a demo of Typing Mind.
Okay,
and-
so that Typing Mind, if I want to go, it's on YouTube now, right? I can go and find that one on YouTube. But here's what I'm confused now. Which would be better to get this information, Gemini or this deep research one, the first one you used, which I can't remember what
right now, for overall Typing Mind, I love, right? I love Typing Mind, right?
Yeah, but even within Typing Mind, which AI tool did you use? It offers you 17 or something.
Before I discovered the deep research, this is the one I did on, right? I'm meeting with this company today to help them fill a structural role. Now I use Puppeteer, and I didn't use the deep research tool that I just found with Firecall. This is my own thing, and that's all I asked of it, right? And it gave me everything I need to know about them, right? So I had this entire their product portfolio, their key competitive advantages, the U.S. market opportunity, right? All of this stuff. It gave me all of this, and this cost me 35 cents versus the other one cost me $3 or whatever, right? So if I had done deep research with this, I don't know what it would have done. It probably would have been amazing, but it gave me everything, questions asked during the hiring meeting, value proposition for candidates, competitive landscape, talking points, everything. I'm like, thanks, this is great. And can you look to see how Pollard Fasteners competes against Simpson Strong Tie for the same market that Python Fasteners is going in? And it used Perplexity to do that. And then it gave me all this information, a product strategy comparison, a key product line for seismic retrofit, right? All this stuff, right? And then once I got all of this, I then asked it to, I think, summarize all this for me so I didn't have 15 pages. So then when I met
when people tell us you're doing business development, they say don't get lost in the research. But this is exactly what's happening. You're going down a rabbit hole, but you said it pays off.
Because I was having a meeting. I would not tell you to do this to do cold calls, right? But if you have a meeting, if you this company called me on a referral, actually, this other engineer said, you need to call this company. I called this company and said, hey, my name's Tom. You understand that you have a need? Yes, we'd like to schedule a meeting with you. Can we do it on Friday? Blah, 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 blah. Right? No problem. So I knew I was going into it. And because I wanted to have all the information, this is why I did this, right? But I was going into a meeting to get a cert, right? And to show them what the hell I was talking about. So if you're just doing this to go out there and cold call, no, this is dumb, right? But if you have a meeting set up with a company you've never worked before or a position you've never worked with before, you should do something like this. What it comes down to, whatever model you're using has to be able to look like in this particular case, right? Where I could try to compare, right? this has to be able to search. Like this searched, this is the mechanical, right? It searched the industry, right? It looked, here are the 14 steps, right? So it does all the searching. It goes and looks for the mechanical engineering first in Vero Beach. Whatever you're going to use, whatever deep research you're going to use, like this was Perplexity. I showed you mine on Typing Mind, and then here's the one for Gemini. Like Gemini shows you sources read but not used in the report, right? You can see this. These are all the places it looked, right? So whatever you're going to use, whatever large language model you're going to use, it has to be able to search the web and be able to search places like this to get to the information if you're using deep research. And if you're like Dean, you can do a prompt that's way better than mine.
He kept saying not every tool can search the web. Which ones can't search the web?
Gemini, deep research. Perplexity, deep research. Typing Mind with certain plugins.
And ChatGPT. A lot of them are using old models, like from a year ago. So the thing with all of the LLMs is they're trained, and the biggest expense to them is taking the time to grow them and feed it all the knowledge. So a lot of the models are about a year old, with the exception of the ones that can access the internet real time.
So how
are
do
the
you
ones
know
that we
which
mentioned.
one is can access the internet real time and which can't?
The ones that we mentioned can. It'll tell you in their.
I don't know what there's probably a
explanation.
ChatGPT version.
ChatGPT,
Dave,
Perplexity,
what's
DeepSpeak, and Gemini.
That's what he's asking. Which ChatGPT accesses the internet? Because
The
not all the
latest version,
Geminis do.
The latest version.
Do they have see, I don't use chat, right? So do they have a
free version? Yes. It's always like the version behind.
I
making sure
can
that,
just use the simple shit, right? So I'm assuming when you click on this, here we go. Solve complex problems, have long chats, multiple sessions, create more images, remember goals, travel, organized, and I'm assuming one of these has like, here's 5.2, right? This is super expensive. I have access to this. I won't even fucking use it because it's really expensive. But this is probably the one. There's probably one of the GPT 5-1 or GPT 4 point whatever that access the internet. And you have to probably choose. Again, I don't use ChatGPT. You probably have to choose a deep research function, just like you have to do in Gemini. In Gemini, you have to say, hey, when I do the search, it's right here. So you pick deep research, and then you bring pro or whatever. I would just do fast because it's not a complex problem. But you're doing deep research, and then you could add sources if you want. And this is what Dean was talking about. Where do you want them to look? Well, search Google, search my Drive, search my chat, search my Gmail. Right? I can upload files. Right? Maybe I had the entire product list from Hilti and Simpson Strong Tie. I could upload that into there. When I asked a question about compare Python versus Hilti versus Strong Tie for masonry adhesion.
Thanks, everybody.